So the Chicago Bears are wasting zero time. Two more additions to this staff, and man, Ben Johnson's hitting the perfect balance of established vets and hungry up-and-coming coaches. Now I'm going to get to the hiring of former Oregon State offensive line coach Kyle Devan. And just a really good hire. This is the guy who developed Taliese Fuaga into a first-round pick last year for the Saints. But there's also another coach just added to the staff, and it's a guy who's really under the radar. Nobody's really covering it. And the guy that I'm talking about is University of San Diego offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach Matt Aponte. And he's just been added to the Chicago Bears staff as our assistant quarterbacks coach. This guy's a grinder. This guy's an up-and-coming offensive mind. And you're hearing what Ben Johnson said earlier, right? He isn't going to just take this Detroit offense and plop it on Caleb's lap. Hey, run this dude. This isn't going to be just a pure drop back system. Detroit's system was a hybrid. It was a combination of plays from lots of different systems. The focus wasn't on a specific scheme, but what worked for quarterback Jared Goff. So he said during his time in Chicago already, he's going to tailor this offense from the floor up. He's going to strip it down and tailor it to what Caleb Williams does best. And now Aponte, he's really interesting. He's an outlier on this staff because he runs a very similar offense to what Caleb Williams handled at USC. Aggressive down the field looks, lots of shotgun, deep passes, diverse, like really vertical routes. And it's kind of a presence that you're not really seeing on this staff with these hires so far. I'll get back to that in just a moment. So Caleb, he's been a shotgun-oriented quarterback. He's also great outside the pocket as well. And Aponte, he's going to tailor to that, but he's also going to be under the leadership of Johnson so they can really harness this as a coaching staff, expand his skill set, and yes, make him a bit uncomfortable, but do it in the right spot so this guy can grow. And I think Johnson just really added a voice to the staff that can aid in creating an offensive system that really tailors to Caleb's strong suits, the abilities he showed as a Heisman winner in college. So this also further illustrates Johnson. He's not afraid to bring in a different voice, a dissenting opinion to help build this offense. He's adding a voice that's going to add another element to the scheme and also combine it with a familiar voice in JT Barrett heading up the quarterback room. I mean, JT Barrett, he can communicate the vision, Johnson's language, how he wants to coach this team to Caleb Williams directly. So we're looking at Aponte as a fast riser and the diversity of the staff once again. Experience and proven coaches and mixing them up with these hungry, innovative voices. This staff just feels right. So let's get to more specifics here. Let's hear a little bit more about Aponte. Once again, the former quarterback coach, offensive coordinator from the University of San Diego. In 2023, this coach was the youngest offensive coordinator at the Division I FCS level. He was named to the Coaching Network's 30 under 30 top list that year. And before that, he coached quarterback at Iowa under Kirk Ferentz. The guy's just been a fast riser. And in 2024, he headed up a San Diego offense that saw quarterback Grant Sargent. He scored a Pioneer Football League best 26 touchdowns, ranked 9th in the FCS during the regular season. And Sargent also totaled 2,400 yards that year and threw only 5 interceptions. So it's not apples to oranges, but his passing game, it also helped his wide receivers. Wideout Jaseen Reed, he earned 2024 PFL Offensive Player of the Year honors, finished in the top 10 nationally in total touchdowns, yards, and receptions. So between 2023 and 24, his offensive unit, it ranked second among PFL programs in total yards per game, averaging 365. 14 of his offensive players earned all conference nods in that time frame. I mean, this guy is just known as a young star in offensive coaching circles, and the guy put up numbers in San Diego to really reinforce that reputation, reinforce that view. So let's get to the veteran coach. I'm just excited about these coaching hires. I'm kind of a nerd with this stuff, but on Friday afternoon, yesterday on Valentine's Day, no, I didn't post on Valentine's Day. I want to stay married, but Matt Zenitz, he's a national college football reporter for CBS Sports and 247 Sports. He reported that the Bears were hiring Oregon State offensive line coach Kyle Devan. It's assumed that Devan will be Chicago's assistant offensive line coach under new offensive line coach Dan Ruchar. Exactly how Devan started his coaching career in 15 when he and Ruchar were with the New Orleans Saints. They have some familiarity. And going back to that familiarity, after one season in New Orleans with Ruchar, Devan vaulted back into the college ranks. He spent 9 years in college. The guy has experience as a player before getting into coaching, played center and guard in the NFL from 08 to 12. He appeared in 40 games, 26 starts, played with Indy, Philly, and Tennessee. But let's kind of focus after his time in New Orleans. Devan, he produced an eventual fifth rounder first in Danny Pinter as offensive line coach. That's, marginal. But then he went to the University of Arizona and he developed his first round pick in Jordan Morgan. Yes, he played in Green Bay. But fast forward to his time at Oregon State, Taliese Fuaga, he absolutely thrived under his coaching, and he ended up being the 14th pick of the Saints in this last draft. Just an absolutely solid pro tackle. He started all 17 games of his rookie season, and he was able to get on that Saints line and just really hit the ground running. Now, without going into more detail, this guy knows how to develop players. He can greatly aid in the draft process as well, right? Only 40 years old, and it adds depth on this coaching staff. We talk about how important it is to have depth as players on your roster, but coaching staff has to be deep too. This is a guy who can help Ruchar with his workload, a guy who's fantastic in his own right. He can command and run an offensive lineman room as well if he needs to. So we're just teaming up two coaches. They've had a lot of success working together. And when these guys were on the same staff with the Saints, Devan and Ruchar, they allowed only 31 sacks. That sounds good, right? But even better, they were over the line for the number one passing offense in the league with the New Orleans Saints. I mean, in my book, just two absolutely home run hires. And these aren't small hires. A lot of times these hires don't get a lot of coverage, especially the assistant quarterback coach hire. That's not really being covered much at all. Just broke this morning. But Ben Johnson's showing that he wants a diversity of voices, a diversity of experience. But I just love that he's bringing up these hungry and smart coaches who are on the way up. Declan Doyle, right? Another Sean Payton disciple who people across the league, they're labeling just an absolute steal and head coach candidate within a few years. JT Barrett is quarterbacks coach. Now we've got Dan Ruchar. Now we've got Devan helping Ruchar coach the offensive line. We're just really shaking this Sean Payton coaching tree. I absolutely love the hires. And then we're looking at the proven experience on our defensive staff. We've got a top-level cornerbacks coach in Harris. We've got Dennis Allen, who's a proven, fantastic defensive coordinator. And I think also what we're going to see with the defensive coordinator role, we're not going to see these punk outs, these, how do I put it nicely? These soft coverages, these prevent type coverages at the end of games. Kind of our defense kind of loses their guts at the end of the game and plays conservative. Dennis Allen is not that kind of coach. He's going to keep the pedal to the floor until the end of the game. And we just got proven and just really good defensive hires. We've got experienced and proven offensive coaches where it matters, but we're also peppering in just these hungry, humble, smart, up-and-coming offensive and defensive minds to round out the staff, and I couldn't be happier. You guys let me know in the comments what you think about these hires. I do not think they are just little blips on the radar. I think they're going to make all the difference. Bear down, and we'll talk soon.